Hey guys, what's up? It's me, xGalaxi Girlx, and this is the third video I am making for how to create a webkin series, or any series for that matter. I've made two videos before this. The first one was about plot and characters, the second one was about writing, and this video will be talking all about filming and acting. And if you want to check out the two videos I made previous to this, I will link them in the description, so go check those out before you watch this video. So, yeah, filming and acting, let's begin. I do really enjoy filming, I do, but sometimes it can become a bit... it really can. Filming is probably my least favorite step, and that is probably because there's so much work you have to put into it if you want it to look professional and look good. So things you need before you can even begin thinking about filming. You obviously have to have your webkins chosen out for what parts they're going to play. You have to have props. You have to have your character list that you created to begin with. In the first video I told you all about this, about your characters and to have a list of their names and their personalities and everything like that, to keep things in order, to remember who your characters and what characters they're playing. And a script if you have one, and of course a camera. So filming is basically where it can all come together very nicely, or everything can come crashing down on you and it can just all fail. It can be an epic fail if you don't get the filming right. Before you begin filming, you have to do prep work, and the prep work is probably why I don't like filming, because there's so much that goes into it. But I can't look at it like a project. I have to look at it as fun. So I turn on some awesome music and I just shake it off, guys. I gotta shake it off and get to work. Okay, so I have a huge bag of where I put all of my webkins that I'm going to be using to film that episode with. So I just take all the webkins. I go through my script, this is why it's convenient to have a script. It's about last video. So I have my script, and I kind of pick out the webkins that I have in the script that are going to be in that episode, and I put them into this huge bag that can be easily carried around to different locations, because I film in very many different locations around my house and in my backyard and things like that. So it's easy to have a big bag to carry everything in. And then I also have a separate bag or box or something that's easy to carry around, that it has all my props in it, because I have a lot of props. So props, basically you gotta get a little bit creative, and most of the time you have to make your own props. Or you can become a little bit creative and use things and repurpose them. So if you have old doll toys, from Barbie dolls or Bratz or something, or from action heroes or anything, like purses or backpacks or necklaces that you have and you want to clothe your characters and things like that, take backpacks to use for the webkins as their backpack, just kind of become a little bit creative, and to create tables and things, take some books and cover them with construction paper, like brown or black construction paper, or if you're in or white, or just regular paper. For food, you can use those toy food you used when you were younger, or you can use real food and put them in little plates and things that are you want to kind of size it right, because you want it to look like the webkins are actually eating it, and you don't want it to be huge, because you want it to all look like it's in the same place, because you don't want something really out of place, like a huge, if you have a backpack or something, or if you have a backpack or something and it's huge, or if you have a huge book that they're reading and it kind of looks a bit awkward because it's so big, and it's the webkins books aren't really that big or something, it's just, you gotta make a lot of props, and it's just really making props, creating things, and figuring out what you have around the house that you can just easily make something with. I will tell you that for 100% fact that if your scene looks as if it's really where your character and the location of where your character is supposed to be, it will feel so real, and it will, so if you have like tables and things as props and the whole ordeal of that scene, if you like create lockers in the background of your scene, if you're like in a high school, it will just, the whole ordeal of it all, when it all comes together, it feels so real and it really feels like your character is there. So that's basically setting the scene. And if the scene you are filming takes place outside, film outside. If it is on a rainy day or something like that, you might have to wait. You just kind of like have to, it depends on the weather and everything like that. But it probably would be better if you waited to film outside than to just film inside, because it will just look better if your characters are actually supposed to be outside. If it takes place in a kitchen, create a kitchen out of things around the around your like, just create kitchens and create, like, if you use, a lot of people I see in a lot of videos in their series and movies and things, the background is your messy room, and the scene is supposed to be like in a school. It doesn't look right, and it just, clean your room. I hate seeing shoes and clothes and other toys in the background of a high school scenario. So yes, you do have to clean your room. This is, again, you gotta work for filming. I'm sorry, you do have to make props and get creative and work with what you have. If it looked like you tried, it will come through to the audience, because instead of seeing a messy room as a background, then like you made lockers, and you will see you colored some on paper, you colored lockers and you taped them to a wall, and it looks better. And like, you made little desks for your webkins to sit in, and you made books, and and you use like pencils and chairs, and you gave them like props and book bags and things. It looks amazing, and to the audience, it really shows through that you tried and you worked hard, and you didn't just kind of throw this together in 5 minutes. So, and again, prepping does take a while. I've prepped for quite some time before, maybe about 2 or 3 hours I've been prepping for maybe one scene. It does take a little while. And of course, I always take a little bit of a break, because, I need some break time. So now you have your location that you're filming, you've made your props, and you're ready to go, and you can finally begin filming, finally. But first, if you wrote your script, and if you wrote a script, read through the whole thing first. Or if you don't have a script, and you're improvising or making up the whole thing on the spot, then kind of make sure you know where you want that scene to go. So yeah, so now just put your webkins, set them where they're supposed to be, and have your script, if you have one, handy. And yeah, so how to film. Hit play and go. And that's what most people think of how it's supposed to go, and that's what I used to do. I had a camera, I hit play, and I went for it. And trust me, it's not how you do things. I've done that before, and I got the job done, but it didn't look as nice as it could have. So, and a lot of people film the entire scene. Like, if one scene, say it's a kitchen scene, they're in the kitchen and everything like that. So that whole scene is filmed from, like, if the camera's just sitting there, or you have the camera in your hands, and it's the entire scene. There's no pause, there's nothing, and that it doesn't look good. I'm going to tell you that now. It does get annoying. Not only to you, but to the audience as well. So my tip is to film a character saying one line, stop filming, switch the character to look at the other character, and film them saying their line back to the other character. And yes, this does become a bit tedious after a while, but it looks so much better in the end product. If the character has a super long monologue, like they're talking for a very long time, then I suggest filming a few lines of them saying their lines from one point of view, from one angle, then switch the camera to a different direction, a different angle of that same character, or you can have the camera look at the other character's reaction while the character is still talking, while the other one's still talking. And this is just how they do it in the real movies, guys. If you watch real movies, then you know. I'm sure we've all seen a movie once in our life, so yeah, I'm sure you know how they do things. And it just we want it to make it look as professional as possible. a lot of people, like I said, you can switch your camera, and I'll talk about that in a second about shaky camera stuff. Or you can like set your camera on something and have your characters talk back and forth, like only for a few lines. If you have two characters and you set your camera in front of them and you kind of move both their heads at the same time, you can do that for about a few lines, but don't have it for the whole scene. Do it maybe for a few lines back and forth. Just, you know, if it fits for the scene that you're filming, do that, but if it doesn't fit, then don't do that. It just really depends on what the content is of your scene and how you're doing it and how you want to set it up. But only, like, have your characters talk back and forth in one broad view in like a few lines. Don't do it that often, but I would say definitely do it every once in a while to give it a bit, to shake things up a little bit. Now talking about shaking things up, no shaky cameras, guys. Now you can use a tripod, or you can create a stand using books or something, or you can hold it in your hand, but you must be careful if you hold it in your hand. When you have a tripod, usually, like, I've tried using tripods, and they don't really work for me because, I don't know, when I set up a tripod, it's like the Webkinz, and I can always see my hand in it, and I'll talk about hands in the camera in a few minutes, but, you know, it's just kind of like, tripods don't work for me. And then when I try setting up books, I never get the right angle that I want, so I can never, they don't work for me. So I always have to end up using my hands, and I always have my camera in one hand and my Webkinz, controlling my Webkinz in the other. Now this can become very, very hard because I have like a character doing something with a prop, and it's just very, very difficult. And this is when I have one of my family members come and help me, or my friends come and help me film, because I cannot do it alone. Do not feel like you have to do this alone, guys, because I have help all the time, because there is no way I could do some of the things I do without some help. So remember that. So filming, I always hold my camera in one of my hands, and I've gotten really good at holding my camera steady in one position and not shaking it. It really does just take practice, and I've had years to practice it. Try to make sure your character of your Webkinz stays in the frame of the camera, because I know it becomes really hard because you're holding your camera there, and you're trying to like move your Webkinz, and then it's like, and then you're also trying to read the script in their line, and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing here, why can't I not, like, it becomes a little bit tedious. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. So, and you're trying to keep your Webkinz in the frame, and that does become hard. So it really just does take practice, and filming the scene over and over again, and rewatching it, and making sure you got your Webkinz in the scene and in the camera, because I hate going and I film something and then I go to edit it and I don't get the scene and I don't get the frame that I wanted, and it doesn't look good, and then I have to like try to, or I can just go with what I have and it kind of looks crappy, or I have to go reset up the scene and refilm everything, and oh my gosh, that becomes, like, it becomes very stressful. So, yeah, that's that. Hands in the frame of reference, in your frame. It doesn't look good. And of course it is bound to happen. It happens to me all the time, but try to keep it on the down low. Don't have it happen all the time. And I hate watching series, even my own, and seeing hands everywhere. It's like this is like, it looks like, you know, it takes away the element that these Webkinz are actually moving and talking on their own. And we know that they're not, but it's nice to not see hands, okay? So try to keep it on the down low. How to control your Webkinz. Like, I take them from the tip of the head and hold them with my thumb and my forefinger, and I kind of move their head like this. That's kind of like how I do it. You can also hold them by their neck and move them like this. I usually take them by my thumb and my forefinger, or you can move them by their butt and just move their head like this, but it doesn't look like, I don't like this way because it doesn't feel realistic to me. And also when you hold them by their neck, there's kind of more of a chance when you're filming up and above like this to, like, I don't know. You can do it like this, but sometimes if you get too far over, you can start seeing the hand, or if you use the top of their head, you can you know, you see what I'm saying? It really depends on how you're filming it and your frame of reference of where you're filming from, but try to keep your hands on the down low. So, yeah, but I don't like controlling the webkins from the their back and their butt area, because it just feels awkward when they're moving, and it feels like they're moving their body and not their head. You see where I'm coming from? So yeah, it just feels awkward. Do not hit the camera, please. I know a lot of people like hitting the camera with their noses and like taking their nose and hitting the camera with their webkins. I hate that. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say that now. I find it very irritating to the audience. It just is like all of a sudden the nose hits the camera and I like jump back and I'm like, what just even happened? Why? Stop. I just don't like that. So if that does happen, refilm that scene. I can't tell you how to film. It really just depends on the scene and what you think the best angle to film is from. And at the beginning of many of my scenes, I do like have an overview of the entire scene and what is going on, and then go to the character that has the first speaking line. So I have like maybe 2 or 3 characters are sitting at a table, and I have an overview of the entire thing, and then I go in and I have the first character speak. So if you watch some of my scenes or movies and things, you kind of understand what I do. So yeah, let's see. Change it up and don't always film from the same angle. This can become boring to the audience. Yes, it is easier, and since I already said you shouldn't film straight through the entire thing, this just adds to the work, I know, but it looks a lot better. So if you like have one angle, like I'm filming from right here and she's like talking, and then I go to another character speaking, and then maybe the next scene I have her talking this way, it just really looks better, and it like, you see where I'm coming from? So like first scene she's talking over here, and then the other character speaks, and then it comes back to this character, but this time the camera's over here and she's talking from this way. So it just really looks better, and it adds to the realness of the film, or of your series, of your movie, or whatever you're making. So yeah, change up the angles every so often, and it just adds to it. Okay, let's see. Give your characters different voices. Don't have all of your characters have the same voice. If your character is a girl, make sure the voice is a little bit higher. Or if you have 2 or even 3 girls in one scene, give them all a different voice. Be all like, hey guys, my name is blah blah blah. Or it could be like, hi guys, like, what are you guys doing today? Or one of the characters can have my original voice. I could be like, oh hey guys, what's up? You know, it just give them all a little bit of a different voice. It could be, maybe the girl has a little bit of a deeper voice, like, what are you guys doing? Like, for real, please stop. Like, just different voices. And when you, like, film one episode, and then you go to another episode, make sure their voices are consistent. I hate seeing, like, one person's voice is completely different in the next episode, and it's like, wait, who's talking? And it just gives, again, another level to your story. So keep the voices. If you create a voice for your character and remember it, or like, go back and watch a scene before you film a new scene, go back and rewatch and practice how they say their lines and remember how they say their lines. And after a while, you remember, and you won't even have to go back, because you'll just remember how they speak. And keep it consistent again through each episode. Keep their voices the same. So yeah. Say the lines in a way that you want to speak. Like, say the lines before you go and film them. Like, speak the lines before you go and actually film that scene in the character's voice. So, then, like, once you figure out how you want your character to say the line, then film it. Say the line and film it at least twice. Like, I'll say, hi, my name is Rebecca, and I totally love shoes. So that's the one. And then maybe I'll do it again. Hi, my name is Rebecca, and I totally love shoes. Like, just try it different ways, speak it different ways, film it different ways, and, you just wanna keep it. You want to get different views and different sayings, because when you go to edit it, you'll have more options to go with. when you're filming huge scenes with huge groups of webkins, like maybe even over 10 webkins, it gets a little like crazy. Maybe even over 6 webkins, it gets a bit crazy. So if there's like a huge crowd and like they try to imagine them all as one. If they're cheering or they're laughing or they're booing, you can give them an overview of scan the crowd and give them an overview. You know, whatever one works for you. You can scan it from like left to right, right to left, or give them a huge overview, pan in, pan out, whatever works for you. But I'm assuming later on when you're editing, when you're in the editing process, you'll add in the cheers or the booing or the laughing. So yeah, it's just just trying to imagine them all as one, and like if they're laughing or something, maybe like kind of like shake the camera a little bit, but not too much, but to kind of get the effect that they're moving and they're laughing instead of moving them all, because you can't move them all at once. So I kind of like take the camera back and do an overview and kind of like shake the camera a little bit, not too much, but a little bit to show that they're moving. Let's see. After you film so many lines, go back and watch it. Go back and re-watch it. This is very important because you don't want to go and begin editing and figure out that you either left out a line, you don't like a line that you filmed, and you want to refilm it. You like your webkins out of frame, they're out of reference of the camera, and you need to refilm it. So that is very, very, very important. Re-watch what you did. Yeah, so filming is hard. Like I said, it's my least favorite thing to do, but it is the most important part, and the only reason it's my least favorite, I do like it, but the only reason it's my least favorite is because there's so much work that goes into it, and if you don't work hard here, then it all comes crashing down later on. So yeah, that's about all I have to say about filming. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about acting, because I've had some questions about acting before, and I want to address those questions real quick. So acting, some people can act and other people can't. Like you watch all those commercials and some people can really act and other people just can't. And all I'm going to say is do your best. Like I said, like change how each character speaks and keep it realistic. Don't dramatize, have dramatic characters. Like I did earlier, I was like, I totally love shows. Like that's probably not how you want to have your characters speak unless you're doing a comedy. If you're doing a comedy, that's totally awesome and that's funny, but you don't want to have, like, if it's a drama, you're telling your friend what you like for what you want for your birthday. Hi, my name's Rebecca and if you're telling like a class, like you're in front of a class and then you say introduce yourself and it's like, hi, my name is Rebecca and I like shoes. So that's kind of like, keep it more realistic. Keep it how actual people would talk. And when you have okay, I'm going to go through a few different things, so just keep it realistic like I just showed you in that example, unless you're doing a comedy and you want to make it crazy a little bit. So I'm going to talk about crying, screaming, and laughing real quick. When one of your characters is crying, literally go and watch a scene from any movie or something where someone is crying, and there is a lot of different types of crying. There's people where they they breathe a lot when they're crying, or they just they just totally burst out crying. They're just they just totally lose it and they start crying. Or some people make a little not a lot of noise when they're crying, so they're just they're very quiet when they do it. There's very many different things when they start crying. I can just go right into it and just pick something and start doing it, and I film it and I don't like it, so I've changed it. It just really depends on the character and what you think your character how their character would cry. Maybe if they're a stronger character, they wouldn't cry that much, but if they're a weaker character, they may cry a lot. It really depends. So yeah, screaming, which I have had to do a few times. Screaming is not fun to do, and when you scream for a line, have water with you, because my voice kind of dries out and I can't speak, so have water when you're doing, or have water anytime when you're filming, because you need to refresh and get your voice back, because you're talking a lot, and you're talking a lot, and when you're doing dialogue and everything, so make sure you do have water to drink. And so when you're screaming, let everyone know. If you're screaming in your house, let everyone in the house know that you're going to be screaming for the scene you're filming, because you don't want them running in being like, did someone just murder you, or like, what just happened? So make sure you let everyone in your house know. And if you're outside screaming, make sure there's no neighbors around who think you might be crazy and there's a murderer and they might call the cops or something. Just kind of keep it on the down low outside, you know what I'm saying? So there's different types of screams. There's screams of terror, and terror, when you're screaming for like, when you're like scared, usually your pitch is a bit higher. And when you scream, like when you're like screaming of anger, you're like, oh, like you're like really like, it's lower. And when you're screaming like you're scared, you're like, oh, I'm like, ah, like it's higher. So, yeah, don't go off screaming for too long. And drink lots of water, like I said. You don't want to lose your voice. And laughing. If your character is laughing, if your character laughs a certain way, and they laugh a lot, and they laugh in different parts of your series, you want to make sure they laugh the same way throughout your series. So if your character is like, like if that's your character's laugh, you want to make sure that every time they laugh, that's what it sounds like. Or if you have another character and their laugh is like, you want to make sure that's how they laugh the entire time. Yeah, and just keep it consistent throughout all your scenes, their laughs. So I hope that helped with acting a little bit. Let's see what else. I know I was forgetting something. But yeah, I do take drama classes, and I've had acting classes and things like that, so I do have some experience in acting, and, yeah, so it's just, yeah. So if you have any more questions about acting, please do ask below. And also, real quick, I don't think I mentioned this, but when you have a character, and if you have a guy and a girl character, make the girl character's voices a little bit higher, and the guy character's voices a little bit lower. So if you're doing a guy voice, kind of make it deeper, like, hey, what are we doing tonight? Are we going out, or are we going to go get some pizza? Like, have it a little bit deeper. And for the girls, like I said, they're usually a little bit higher, or use your own voice. If you're a girl, or if you're a guy, use your own voice. You see what I'm saying? And just kind of like, you know, go with it. So, yeah, that's about all I have to say about filming. That's a lot to say. Sorry this video was extremely long, but yeah, stay chill through filming. Filming, I sometimes get very angry, and take breaks, because, yes, take breaks a lot of the time. I try filming one episode all in one go, and it just really becomes stressful to me, and by the end, I know it's like rewarding at the end, but it's just so stressful while going through it. So take a breaks, film inside scenes one day, film outside scenes another day, film one scene a day throughout a span of a week or something. You know, whatever works for you, like I always say. So the next video will be the final video I'll be making, and that will be talking all about editing, the final step in creating a series before you upload it for the world to see. So, yeah. So I guess that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Like if this was helpful, dislike if it wasn't. Let me know. If you have any more questions about filming or acting, ask them below in the comments, and I will be sure to answer them. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!